Strategies for managing stress in workplace. Do you ever find yourself feeling overwhelmed by the demands of your job? In today's fast-paced work environment, adapting to stress and navigating adversity are crucial for maintaining our mental health and emotional well-being. Do you want to learn some practical strategies for managing stress in the workplace, and especially having sustained benefit, lasting coping practices so that you can manage your stress and perform at your best? Then you're at the right place. Our guest today is going to share some practical strategies to strengthen your emotional resilience and how to handle workplace stress like a pro. Welcome to Happy and Healthy Mind program number 139. This episode is sponsored by shifahealth.org, dedicated to optimizing mental health and well-being. And I'm your host, Dr. Rozina Lakhani. I help high achievers prevent burnout, anxiety, and depression at all stages. I've been serving over the last 26 years as an integrative MD psychiatrist, a best-selling author, a speaker, and university professor. I believe that prevention is the best medicine. Therefore, in these programs, we share tips for optimizing mental wellness so you could prevent unnecessary suffering due to stress-related illnesses and live your best life with hope, health, and happiness. This program is for educational purposes only, so please consult your healthcare provider for any medical advice. So today our guest is Christopher Oseh, and he is a trained primary physician turned certified health coach and behavior change expert and author. He uses behavior change coaching techniques and his 4R stress formula to help professionals and entrepreneurs manage stress, improve sleep, and support lifestyle disease treatment. His online wellness coaching practice also helps companies to create and manage employees' wellness program remotely or on site. Thank you so much, Christopher, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rozina, for having me.
You're welcome. Let's start with, how did this topic become important in your life? What kind of problems were you having that you decided, this is what you want to do?
Yeah. Well, that's my backstory. I'm a trained primary care physician, and I have almost a decade of clinical experience. While practicing as a primary care physician, I was exposed to unhealthy lifestyles. I was eating late and had unhealthy food habits. And also the work shifts exposed me to a lot of stress. So that was my first major encounter with stress. And that triggered the desire to explore lifestyle medicine. And I was able to use lifestyle medicine to manage my stress. But early last year, while preparing for my exam to be a certified health coach, and while launching my wellness coaching practice, I was exposed to another round of stress. And that led me to desire to create a sustainable stress coping practice. And I'll be sharing them during this conversation.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, don't we all go through our own stressors and realize how important it is? I also go through many cycles of stressors that we go through. And that's when I had the calling that the tools that help me, I would like to bring it from inside the office to outside the office so people like me and you don't have to suffer unnecessarily. And so I'm so happy to connect with you, and let's share some great tips with our audience so that could also help them. My question to you before we jump into those tips is, how did your life change after you applied these sustainable stress management tools?
Yeah, so early last year, when I started having the early signs of burnout and stress, I was having tension headaches. I was always having this early morning awakening type of insomnia. I was really tense and I couldn't really work because some of my work as an author requires a lot of creativity. That was my first exposure to mindfulness practice. I was exposed to the fact that I'm supposed to be practicing specific distressors every day. And I got into the habits. I created the habit of ensuring that on a daily basis, I have my mindfulness practice by 1:30 p.m. And I also have this, I listen to specific meditative sounds just before I sleep to keep me relaxed and to distress me on a consistent basis. So having developed these habits, I've been able to, manage my stress, reduce my stress level, even while studying currently for my coaching certification. I've been able to substantially reduce my stress because I've developed stress coping habits.
Wonderful. So how's the life different? What kind of feelings do you get when you have developed these tools? How does it affect your relationship or your health or your work? How does it affect you overall?
Yes, so now I've been able to sleep better. I sleep for close to 7 hours now, and once I sleep well, it improves my productivity. I can think clearly in the morning. I'm not so irritable and moody. And just at times early last year, when I had the exposure to stress, at times I just notice I become anxious, and that could be due to prolonged level of insomnia, stress-induced insomnia, and other unhealthy impacts of stress. But currently, because of the habits of mindfulness practice and other constant practice of mindful movements, I've been able to properly boost my resilience against stress.
Wonderful. So you feel more energetic?
Definitely. I sleep well. So fatigue has significantly reduced.
Yeah.
Unlike last year, I was constantly tired, struggling with my performance at work. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what the biggest complaint people have is kind of reduced stress. And then concentration goes down. Like, I had a patient last week and she was like, okay, these medications were working really well for my ADHD. I was able to focus and I was able to do all the things that were required. But these medications are not working for 2 months. And I was like, okay, all these years it has been working, and suddenly why they're not working for 2 years? And then as I dug deep, I found like, she's going through a really significant stressor. And so I said, like, the stressor can affect your concentration. And she had this aha. She said, oh my God, you have your finger on the pulse. And exactly that is what is happening. I was like, okay, well, sometimes people don't think that their stress reactivity can affect their concentration, their ability to perform, their energy level. And so it has a significant impact. And like you said, impact on the sleep and moodiness.
Exactly.
So then patients would ask me to increase their antidepressant or their ADHD medication, but actually the underlying cause is the stress, and then modifying that really helps them.
Yeah.
Let's kind of dig in a little further. Again, you mentioned some of the habits that you have developed that are helping you, but what how do you assess somebody's stress level in the workplace? Like, how do you know that they're either too stressed? Well, when they're completely stressed and burned out, we know all the symptoms. But how do you know what level of stress are they, and at what level they're kind of at risk or at brink of burnout? When should they start practicing these stress management techniques?
Yes, in the workplace is unique. The workplace has unique stressors, and the goal of assessment is to build awareness. You have to be aware before you start changing, before you carry out any lifestyle change, or before you start any workplace wellness program. And there are certain tools that can be used. And typically, they are standardized worksite stress surveys, which are questionnaires containing questions that employees can fill to assess their stress at work, the working conditions, and the probable causes of stress. And there's also a standardized tool that's used in coaching, which is called the perceived. I know you might know it's the perceived stress. You would likely know it is rather the perceived stress scale tool. It's a tool that assesses the degree of stress an individual has. The beauty about the PSS, the perceived stress scale tool, is that it gives one an objective score of the stress level. It's a screening tool, it's not diagnostic, but it has been shown and clinically validated to be effective. So an individual upon filling that perceived stress scale questionnaire, an individual can either be can either have low levels of stress, moderate stress level, or high stress level, depending on the scores the individual has. The combination of these two tools, the surveys and the PSS, the perceived stress scale tool, has been shown to be effective to objectively assess stress levels of employees and the impact of stress on the health and wellness of employees.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I use a similar tool called Stress Mastery Questionnaire,
Oh, okay.
which is also a computerized scoring system. So it kind of gives you not only the score, but also the subcategory of area of focus that you need to do with the stress management. But that being aside, let's what kind of common unhealthy workplace behaviors do you usually notice?
Yes, from my own experience and from working with some clients, I noticed that the work site is usually not friendly. There are some common unhealthy workplace behaviors, but the key ones are employees are demanded to work long hours, which is not sustainable. And also, employees engage in typical unhealthy eating behaviors. Usually, when they are stressed, stress increases cravings, and this causes them to engage in unhealthy eating behaviors, to eat comfort foods. And also, most work sites, they don't have clear work-life boundaries. Most workers are expected to work even beyond the agreed working hours. And also, workers these days, because of the advent of the digital environment, digital technology, most workers are sedentary. And lastly, lack of support system is one of the common causes of common unhealthy workplace behaviors that I've seen.
But it seems like some of those that you described are in a person's control and some of them are not.
Absolutely, yes.
The demand on the employee is high. And so what can a person do if there is high demand and there's high stress? Eating pattern is something that is partially in an individual's control, but sometimes people start feeling guilty for eating comfort food. Understanding that actually when your body is in stress reactivity, your cortisol is high, and that creates the craving so that you have enough energy to what we say fight, flight, or freeze response. So in face of stress, your body goes into this reaction, and for that reaction, it needs more glucose. And so your mind starts kind of looking for easy way of getting glucose, and that is kind of the fast food craving or sugar craving that people feel. And so some of it may not be in your control unless you recognize and you reduce your stress. You cannot control your craving for the food.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the proven stress coping strategies that you have come across that you can share with us?
Yes, I'll share some of the ones I've practiced and some of the ones I've gotten through research. So the first one I've practiced is relaxation techniques, specifically mindfulness. Mindfulness is just present moment focused. Most times employees are stressed because they are focused on the work they've not done and other future events that are not happening at the moment. All these things can trigger stress. And it has been shown that work sites that have offices where they can allow employees to just stay quiet and practice mindfulness can help to reduce the burden of stress. And these days, there are a lot of apps that can help to make mindfulness practice very easy. The next one is deep breathing. There are a lot of deep
Before we
breathing.
go to the second one, so again, you were saying that some employers have place for people to have the quiet place. That's wonderful. What if there is no quiet place in your workplace? How do you do those relaxation exercises?
Well, the employee it has to be a quiet place because you need to focus on certain modalities of your senses. If there is no set quiet place in the workplace, the employee has to find a quiet place. And because mindfulness, you have to focus on maybe your breathing or your specific areas of your body by using guided meditation practice. So it's very crucial to find a quiet place so that it can be effective. If it's a noisy environment, you'll not be able to focus on specific senses. That's why it's best practice to get a quiet place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yesterday I had a patient and we were talking about exactly this thing, and said, I don't have time. There's like constantly meeting after meeting after meeting. And so we came up with a funny analogy. I said, what happens if you have diarrhea?
Hmm.
Do you
Where
go
do
to
you, where do you go to, right?
Then you don't have any control. You just say, excuse
Yeah.
yourself, you go to the bathroom, right? So
Yeah.
if you can't go anywhere, just put the alarms on the phone, and when the alarm goes, you go to the bathroom. If you can't go anywhere else, at least take that 1 minute or 3 minute break. And that kind of helps you reset your stress level. As the stress level is going up, you take that break, and then most of the places have at least, the 15 minutes or half an hour lunch or
Yes.
snack break. And a lot of my patients tell me that they go for the walk in that half an hour lunchtime, or they
Yeah.
go and stare outside a window to the nature, or especially if you can be outside, the fresh air really, really helps, and then the nature helps. But if not, then you can kind of find a quiet place, like you said, and if you can't find anything, you can at least find a bathroom and go there.
You create a quiet place, right? Yeah, it's very crucial. And from last year, I started just 1 minute mindfulness practice. It calms those nerves. It has been shown through research, just 1 minute mindfulness practice using specific mindfulness apps. It can really have that relaxing effect.
Yeah, and you can do it anywhere. The beauty of mindfulness, most of our audience know what mindfulness is, but let's kind of, go, sometimes there's misunderstanding of mindfulness. Sometimes they say, oh, okay, if you're just staying in the present moment and you're not thinking about future, then you may do things that may be harmful for your future. Or you don't focus on the past, so you may not learn from the past. And I want to kind of clarify, mindfulness is moment to moment awareness. So what is happening in the moment,
Yes.
non-judgmentally and intentionally. So you're making an intention of being present in the moment, and then you are not passing the judgment. That does not mean that you don't learn from the past. Within the present moment awareness, you can also acknowledge, okay, the last time when I put my hand in the fire, it burned. Okay, sorry, it's a gross example, but you can still learn from the past behavior, acknowledging, yes, that when I am not careful, bad things happen, so let me be careful. So you can be careful and mindful. And you can also plan for the future, being present in the moment instead of, so let's say if you're planning to go to a party at 5 o'clock, and this is 2 o'clock at this time. Your present moment awareness you can acknowledge that there is something that you're going to go at 5 o'clock, for which you are going to clock out at 4 o'clock or whatever, put the time for traffic. And that right now you are in this moment, so you are going to focus, and so that you can do the best work and you can finish it by this particular time. So you're aware of it. You're not closing your eyes, but you are living in the present moment, instead of living, oh, I'm walking and I'm going and this party is happening this way and that way, or this would happen or that would happen. Then your mind goes over there. So not going over there, but aware in the present moment of whatever is you're planning or whatever you've learned from the past. So learn from the past, prepare for the future, but live in the present.
Absolutely.
That's a wonderful research-based tool that has shown a lot of benefit for stress management, for even depression, anxiety, and many other conditions.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, tell us some more tools that you would like to share with us.
Yes. So another tool that I use is the deep breathing exercises. There are different types. There's the 4-7-8 breathing method. There's the box breathing method. The 4-7-8 simply means You breathe in slowly for 4 seconds. You hold your breath for 7 seconds. Then you breathe out slowly for 8 seconds. It has been shown through research that when you slowly breathe out, it has soothing effects on the nerves. It really calms the person. That's why the exhalation, that's the breathing out, has to be the longest in that cycle. So the 4-7-8 is a common example that has been shown and I use, and it really helps me to calm down. Each time I notice that, okay, I'm a bit not balanced emotionally, I need to take control of my breathing. I practice the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Then journaling as well, and it can be used by employees. If you're at work, you just notice that you're anxious for no reason, journaling is a great way to clear those thoughts. Journal, what are you thinking about? Why are you thinking about it? And how best can you respond to those thoughts? Journaling is a great way that can help. And like you mentioned, physical activities, they are very crucial. For me, I've ingrained the habit of taking morning walks because it has a ton of benefits. It helps me to get exposure to early morning sun, which has been shown to properly help with the circadian rhythm, that's the internal body clock. And when you take, apart from morning walks, you can also take walks while during the work hours. Because if you take 1 minute walk break, it can cut short the long cycle of sedentariness, walking at a place for a long time, or sitting at a place rather for a long time. Taking those 1 minute walk breaks within the office can help to break that cycle of being sedentary. Another one that I've noticed that people don't pay attention to is the environment design, exposure to nature. You don't always have to go outside to get nature. You can bring nature into the office space. It's been shown through research that some workplaces that have what we call green spaces, they have flowers and plants. Exposure to the flowers and plants has been shown to have relaxative effects. Then lastly, I found out that taking breaks is very crucial.
What?
People taking breaks,
Breaks.
yeah, it's very crucial. People ignore breaks. They just want to work, not knowing that it can increase the stress you are exposed to while working. But there are three types of breaks that I enjoin my clients to take. The first one is taking screen breaks. Prolonged exposure to screen can cause eye fatigue, headaches, and it can make your productivity and performance to tank. The next one is taking walk breaks. Just take a walk. It can just be a few seconds. Just take a walk. Then the last one is take lunch break. Our brain needs fuel, and you need to energize the brain by eating healthy foods. So by taking walk breaks, lunch break, and screen break, you are trying to build your body's resilience against stress. And lastly, having support system, having what I call stress buddies, people at work that you can reach out to when you have issues, when you have excessive workload, can have a way of helping you to manage stress very well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, there are lots of tips that we shared. And sometimes people think, oh, I know about this tip, but have you been practicing that tip? And so sometimes I laugh with my patients. They're like, okay, although I teach these, sometimes I also get stressed because knowing doesn't solve the problem. You have to be practicing. So sometimes I talk about these things so I can also remind myself so that I can do them too. Because
Yeah.
when I stop doing it, then I start kind of seeing that stress level going up, and so we want to kind of have a higher level of awareness that it is creeping up, and what I call the deposits in your emotional coping account. So like everybody has a coping account, internal coping account. All the stressors are like withdrawals, and all the things that you do for self-care, these resilience building activities, are deposits. So when you feel like your balance is going a little low, increase your deposits so that you can bring the balance back up. So I got a lot of tips today, some reminders and some new. And so my favorite tip from today was the screen break. Because yeah, many times I'm seeing patient after patient after patient, and then I'm kind of sometimes I do the stretching break. but I'm still kind of looking at the computer many times, or I'm eating while I'm looking at something else. And so, yeah, so then my eyes get tired, and I think that's a great idea to think about putting in screen breaks or alternating activities of, like, on the screen versus the physical activity that we need to do. So different people have different work situations, so different things may apply to different people. So let me ask our audience, what is your favorite tip from the program today? Not just what you know, but something that you became aware of and you're going to start implementing in your life. Please share in the comment below or send a message to us through email. If you found value in this today's program, we have additional gift for you, which may make it even more helpful. And so Dr. Oseh has graciously shared his gift of 5 tips to build resilience. And just go to the happyandhealthymind.com and sign up for resources. It gives you access to more than 100 resources shared by our wonderful guests on this program for free. Look for the gift for the program 139, and you'll be able to download this gift. It is a gift for you as an appreciation for being a loyal follower. If you love this program, show it by liking and subscribing. And if you benefited from the program, guess what? Others will too. We all want to make a difference. All you have to do is click that share button, and when others benefit, you get to bask in the benefit too. So let me ask our guest, where can people learn more about you?
All right. So they can find me on my website, drveco.com, drvecoh.com, or just on LinkedIn. You can search Christopher Oseh on LinkedIn. They can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to get in touch with them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can you spell your website again for people who are not watching but listening?
drveco.com, drvecoh.com.
Wonderful, thank you. So before we wrap up, can you give us your best advice?
Yes, I tell my clients awareness is very important. People are not aware that their lifestyle is typically very crucial in building resilience against stress. You need to be aware of your unhealthy lifestyles and choose to change it by identifying one cornerstone unhealthy lifestyle you want to change. Cornerstone means the one critical unhealthy lifestyle that you can change, and it will have the most critical impact on your health. It's very crucial to be aware and just focus on changing one cornerstone lifestyle. That will help you to develop the resilience you need to cope with stress. We cannot run away from stress. Stress is part of our existence. So it's very important to be always periodically assess yourself, build your awareness, and change one lifestyle at a time.
That's wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, because many times people try to change 10 things at the same time and it doesn't work. So let me leave our audience with this message. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, and you have an opportunity. What one change you are going to make so that you can be more resilient and you're able to cope with the stress and live your best life with hope, health, and happiness. Please share with us and stay safe and healthy and happy. Until next time, Dr. Rozina. And thank you, Dr. Oseh.
Thank you for having me.